Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's Time for Coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java Junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Pete Newell. So very quickly, Pete, I'd like to flash back to when you were an undergrad at Kansas State University. You got your BS in life sciences. Did you know what you were going to do with that degree when you graduated?
Oh, absolutely not. First and foremost, I was a horrible student. Had they had a thing called gap years back then, I would probably be an ideal candidate because, leaving high school, I had no idea what I was going to do. Wasn't a great student, and not because, not bright. It's just I get bored easily. I get bored in high school because I was taught the same archaic way, quite frankly, we still do today. And that just didn't jive well with me. So I will tell you that I went to Kansas State without a clear plan. In fact, my first career choices, I was matriculated to Kansas State to get a degree in agricultural economics. In the middle of Kansas, so I like cows and that thing. I realized pretty quick that the young men and women who had grown up on farms knew about 1,000% more than I did, and I was a fish out of water. So, I went through, I don't want to say 3 different degree tracks trying to find my way, and eventually failed out. I did find that I enjoyed working, and at one point I was probably working more than I was going to school, and that's probably why my grades suffered. But I actually sat out a semester in the summer and worked 3 jobs, building up enough money so I could go back to school. And when I went back, I had spent enough time in the National Guard and was starting to look at the military as something that I was really interested in, but realized I would never get there if I didn't get my GPA up and if I didn't graduate. So I want to say that within 2 semesters of going back to Kansas State, I was pulling a load of 18 to 21 hours a semester at a 3.4 GPA, which is a miraculous turnaround from somebody who had a sub 1 point something a year earlier.
Well, you were finally engaged intellectually and you were motivated.
Well, I had a purpose. I don't say that I was overly intellectually. I tell my relationship with a degree program back then was I got hours. Tell me whatever I got to do to meet the standard in order to graduate with a degree so that I could take a commission and become an active duty Army officer. I had a goal and I had a purpose, and the degree was a means of getting there. In retrospect, I wish it hadn't been that way. I wish I'd had more clarity going and that I had been more engaged in the things that the university offers students to help them find their way. I wish that I had more experience in the real world, understanding different lines of works and other things. But quite frankly, it's all worked out well for me. So when I say I wish, it's really me talking to my youngest son, who's a junior at the University of Arizona, who's trying to figure out what he wants to be and what he wants to do. And the coaching he gets is largely based on my experience as an undergrad and not having taken advantage of the environment that was around me.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.